They grabbed her arms and dragged her across the marble floor like trash, while the manager laughed and guests filmed on their phones. 30 seconds later, the elevator doors opened, and her billionaire husband stepped out. What happened next was pure, instant karma that left the entire hotel in shock. The security guard's fingers dug into my arm as he dragged me toward the exit. Everyone in the lobby was staring, some filming on their phones. The manager stood there smirking, arms crossed, enjoying every second of my humiliation. Then the elevator doors opened, and my husband stepped out. Game over. My name is Camila Rodriguez, and 4 years ago I was serving coffee at a small diner downtown, living paycheck to paycheck in a tiny apartment with a leaking ceiling. That's where I met Adrian. He came in one rainy Tuesday morning, ordered black coffee, and sat by the window working on his laptop. I remember watching him give his expensive jacket to a homeless man shivering outside. No cameras, no audience, just pure kindness. That moment changed my life forever. We started talking, and 3 months later we were inseparable. 6 months after that, he proposed. I said yes without hesitation. Now here's the thing most people don't understand about me. When I married Adrian, I married the man, not his money. He owns a chain of luxury hotels across 15 countries. His net worth is something I don't even like to think about. But despite all that wealth, I refuse to change who I was. I still shop at thrift stores. I still wear my comfortable old jeans and sweaters. I don't do designer handbags or expensive jewelry. Adrian loves that about me. He says, "In a world full of fake people, you're the most real thing I've ever found." 3 weeks ago, Adrian left for an important business deal in Singapore. We talked every night, but I missed him terribly. The house felt empty without his laugh, without his presence. So last Thursday I decided to surprise him. He was staying at our flagship hotel, the Grand Meridian, finishing up some final meetings before coming home. I booked a last-minute flight, threw some clothes in a backpack, and headed to the airport. I didn't tell him I was coming. I didn't tell anyone. When I landed, I was exhausted. My hair was in a messy bun, no makeup, wearing my favorite faded jeans, an old cardigan my grandmother gave me, and worn-out sneakers. I looked exactly like what I was, a tired woman who'd just been on a 5-hour flight. I grabbed a taxi to the hotel, my heart racing with excitement. I couldn't wait to see the look on Adrian's face when I knocked on his suite door. The taxi pulled up to the Grand Meridian, and I felt that familiar surge of pride. The building gleamed with marble and gold accents, the fountains out front dancing in the afternoon sun. My husband built this, his vision, his hard work. The doorman, Carlos, stood at the entrance. When I approached, he looked at me, hesitated, and slowly opened the door with a look on his face like he just smelled something bad. I noticed it but brushed it off. Maybe he was having a rough day. I walked through those golden revolving doors into the massive lobby. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors so shiny you could see your reflection, fresh flowers everywhere. It was beautiful. A few guests milled around, all dressed in expensive suits and designer dresses. I headed straight for the reception desk, excited to check in and then head up to surprise Adrian. The receptionist, a young woman named Jessica according to her name tag, was on the phone. She glanced at me, and I swear I saw her eyes roll before she turned her back slightly. I stood there waiting. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes, 3. She was clearly chatting with someone, laughing about weekend plans while I stood there invisible. Finally, after what felt like forever, she hung up and looked at me with the coldest expression. "Can I help you?" Her tone was icy, like she was doing me some huge favor just by speaking to me. I smiled warmly, trying to kill her coldness with kindness. "Yes. Hi, I have a reservation. Camila Rodriguez." She typed on her computer with deliberately slow movements, her long nails clicking against the keyboard. She stared at the screen, then back at me, then at the screen again. "I don't see any reservation under that name." My smile faltered a bit. "That's strange. I booked it online yesterday. Let me show you the confirmation." I pulled out my phone and opened the email, showing her the confirmation number and details. Jessica barely glanced at it. That could be photoshopped. Anyone can fake those. I blinked, surprised. I'm sorry, what? Why would I Photoshop a hotel confirmation? Ma'am, we get all kinds of people trying to scam their way into luxury hotels. I took a deep breath, keeping my composure. Can you check again? Maybe you booked at a different location. The way she said, luxury hotels, felt like a slap, like I couldn't possibly belong there. No, it's definitely this location. Can you please check again? Maybe under my husband's name, Adrian Rodriguez. Her eyebrow raised. Adrian Rodriguez. The Adrian Rodriguez. You're saying you're married to the owner of this hotel chain? She let out a little laugh, and I noticed two other staff members, a bellboy named Ben and another receptionist named Sophia, had stopped what they were doing to watch. They were whispering, smirking. Yes, I am. Can you please just check the reservation? Jessica sighed dramatically, making it a performance for her colleagues. Sure, honey. Let me check. More slow typing. A guest had lined up behind me, huffing impatiently. I felt my face getting hot, embarrassed, but trying to stay calm. That's when the manager arrived. Jessica, is there a problem here? Her voice was sharp, authoritative. She was tall, wearing an expensive-looking burgundy suit, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. Her name tag read, Patricia, Guest Services Manager. Jessica's face lit up like she'd been waiting for backup. Patricia, we have a situation. This woman claims she has a reservation, but I can't find it in the system. She also claims to be married to Mr. Rodriguez. Patricia turned to me, and the look she gave me made my stomach drop. It was pure judgment, disgust. She looked me up and down slowly, taking in my messy hair, my old clothes, my scuffed sneakers. What seems to be the problem here? The emphasis on here felt intentional, like I was the problem simply by existing in this space. I explained everything again calmly, showing the confirmation email. Patricia barely looked at it. Instead, she crossed her arms and tilted her head. Ma'am, are you sure you can afford our rooms? Our standard rooms start at $800 per night. Perhaps there's been some confusion. Have you checked the budget motel down on 5th Street? The lobby seemed to get quieter. Or maybe it was just the blood rushing in my ears. I can afford it. I have a reservation. I showed you the confirmation. Patricia turned to Jessica. Did you verify her credit card? Jessica swiped my card with theatrical slowness. We all waited. It declined. That's impossible, I said, my voice shaking slightly. Try it again. Patricia smirked. Ma'am, we don't accept cards that don't work. And honestly, this whole story about being married to Mr. Rodriguez, do you really expect us to believe that? Jessica whispered to Sophia, loud enough for me to hear. Probably stolen anyway. A well-dressed woman standing nearby muttered to her companion. Some people have no shame trying to scam luxury hotels. I felt the walls closing in. More people were watching now, this growing audience to my humiliation. I want to speak to the general manager right now. Patricia actually laughed. I am the manager, and I'm telling you that you need to leave immediately. Then call the owner. Call Adrian? Patricia's laugh got louder. The owner? You think the owner has time for this for you? She turned to Jessica. Should we call the police or just security? My hands were shaking as I tried calling Adrian. It went straight to voicemail. He was probably in a meeting. Patricia saw me trying and shook her head mockingly. Oh, making fake calls now. This is getting sad. She pulled out her radio. Frank, we need you at reception. We have a trespasser. I'm not trespassing. I have a reservation. My voice was rising now, desperation creeping in. Within a minute, 2 large security guards appeared. Frank and Tony both looked like they belonged in an action movie, all muscle and intimidation. Patricia pointed at me like I was garbage. Escort this woman out of the hotel. She's trespassing and attempting to defraud us. I couldn't believe this was happening. Please just listen to me. I'm telling you the truth. I'm Camila Rodriguez. This is my husband's hotel. I own. Frank grabbed my left arm. His grip was tight, painful. Tony grabbed my right arm just as roughly. Let's go, lady. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Don't touch me. Let go of me right now. I tried to pull away, but their grip only tightened. They started dragging me toward the exit. My feet stumbling over the polished marble. My backpack slipped off my shoulder, fell to the ground, and everything spilled out. My phone, wallet, keys, lip balm, all scattered across the floor. Leave it! Patricia called out, following behind us like she was enjoying a show. Security will throw it in the trash where it belongs. This is what happens when people try to scam luxury hotels. Let this be a lesson. Ben, the bellboy, actually kicked some of my belongings aside as we passed, laughing. Sophia was recording on her phone. Other guests had their phones out too. I heard someone say, "This is definitely going viral." Tears were streaming down my face now, not just from the humiliation, but from the pain of their grip on my arms, from the injustice of it all. We were maybe 10 feet from the exit. I could see the revolving doors getting closer. Frank and Tony were practically lifting me off the ground. Please, I begged, my voice breaking. Just let me explain. Save it, lady, Frank grunted. We've seen your type before. You people think you can just walk into places like this and… Ding. The sound of the executive elevator cut through the chaos. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. The doors slid open, and there he was. Adrian, my husband, home early to surprise me, wearing his charcoal suit, briefcase in hand, looking tired but happy, until his eyes landed on the scene in front of him. I watched his expression change. Confusion first, his eyes squinting, trying to make sense of what he was seeing, then recognition, that was his wife being dragged across the lobby by security guards, and then rage. Pure, unfiltered rage. His face went red, his jaw clenched so tight I could see it from across the lobby. Stop! His voice boomed through the entire space, echoing off the marble and crystal. It was a voice I'd never heard him use before. Commanding. Terrifying. Everyone froze. Frank and Tony's hands were still gripping my arms, but they'd stopped moving. Every person in that lobby turned to look at him. Patricia, who had been smirking just seconds ago, looked confused. Adrian strode toward us, his pace increasing with every step. He wasn't just walking. He was charging. I said stop. Patricia stepped forward, not yet understanding. Sir, this doesn't concern you. We're simply removing a trespasser who… Release her now. The way he said it left no room for argument. It was a command, final and absolute. Frank and Tony let go of my arms immediately, stepping back with their hands up. Adrian reached me in seconds, his hands cupping my face, his eyes scanning me for injuries. Are you hurt? Did they hurt you? Camila, baby, look at me. Are you okay? I couldn't speak. I just shook my head and collapsed into his chest, sobbing. His arms wrapped around me, protective and safe. I felt his heart pounding against my cheek. Behind us I heard Patricia's voice, small and confused. Mr. Rodriguez. We didn't. Then the realization hit her. I felt it in the way the air in the lobby changed. Oh my God! Oh my God! She's really… Adrian pulled back slightly, his hands still on my shoulders, looking into my eyes. Tell me everything right now. What did they do to you? Through my tears I told him. Every detail. How I'd been made to wait. How Jessica treated me like garbage. How Patricia mocked me, suggested I go to a budget motel, accused me of scamming. How they said my credit card was stolen. How they called me a liar when I said I was his wife. How security grabbed me, dragged me. How my things were kicked aside. How I'd been humiliated in front of dozens of people. With each word I watched Adrian's face get darker. His jaw clenched tighter. A vein in his forehead started throbbing. When I finished, he turned slowly to face Patricia, and the look he gave her could have frozen fire. "What did you do?" It wasn't a question. It was a death sentence. Patricia's face had gone from red to white in seconds. "Mr. Rodriguez, I didn't know." She didn't identify herself. She looked. She gestured at my clothes, then immediately regretted it. "She looked what, Patricia? I mean, I thought, we have protocols for." "I was just protecting the hotel standards." Her voice was getting smaller with each word. "Standards?" Adrian's voice was deadly quiet now, which was somehow more terrifying than yelling. "Your standard is to judge people by their appearance, to grab them, to humiliate them, to assault my wife." The word wife echoed through the lobby. A collective gasp. Jessica looked like she might faint. Frank and Tony had backed up several more steps. Adrian pulled out his phone. "Harper, get to the Grand Meridian now. I don't care if you're in a meeting. I don't care if you're at your daughter's wedding. Get here in the next 15 minutes or start looking for a new job." Mr. Harper was the regional director, Adrian's right-hand man. If Adrian was calling him, this was serious. Adrian turned to the security guards. "Frank and Tony, is it? Stay exactly where you are. Move 1 inch and I'll have you arrested for assault." He looked at Patricia. "You two don't even think about leaving." Then to Jessica. "Come out from behind that desk right now." Jessica was crying. "Please, Mr. Rodriguez, I need this job. I have student loans. I can't." "You should have thought about that before you assaulted my wife. Before you called her a scammer, before you enjoyed humiliating her." I bent down to collect my scattered belongings. A guest, an older woman in a pearl necklace who had been watching everything, knelt down to help me. "I'm so sorry, dear," she whispered. "I should have said something. We all should have." Adrian helped me up, his arm around my waist, keeping me close. More guests were gathering now, watching the scene unfold. Some looked ashamed, others shocked. A few were still recording. 14 minutes later, Mr. Harper burst through the doors, his face flushed, his tie askew. He took one look at Adrian's expression and went pale. "Sir, what happened?" "Your staff," Adrian said slowly, "just physically assaulted, publicly humiliated, and attempted to forcibly remove my wife from our hotel." "Our hotel?" Harper repeated. "The one we built on the principle that everyone deserves dignity and respect." Harper turned to look at me, his eyes widening in horror. "Mrs. Rodriguez, oh God, oh my God." He turned to Patricia. "What have you done?" Patricia tried to explain, her words tumbling over each other. "She didn't say who she was. She looked ordinary. We get scammers all the time. How are we supposed to know? And that makes it okay?" I found my voice finally. "That makes it okay to treat someone like garbage because they look ordinary?" Patricia opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no answer. Harper pulled out his radio. "I need security footage from the main lobby for the past hour. Send it to my tablet immediately." We moved to a private office off the lobby. Adrian kept his arm around me the entire time. Within minutes, Harper had the footage pulled up. We watched it all. My patience at the desk. Jessica's eye rolls. Patricia's cruel smile. The mockery. Frank and Tony grabbing my arms. Ben kicking my belongings. Sophia filming and laughing. Every horrible second captured in crystal clear high definition. Harper's hands were shaking. This is unacceptable. This is grounds for immediate termination. All of them." Adrian stood up, his decision made. "Gather them. All of them. Main lobby now." 5 minutes later, Patricia, Jessica, Frank, Tony, Ben, and Sophia stood in a line in front of the reception desk. Other staff members had gathered, confused and scared. Guests watched from a distance. Adrian stood in front of them, and when he spoke, his voice carried to every corner of that lobby. "I built this company on one principle. Treat people with dignity. Every person, rich or poor, Dressed in designer clothes or wearing jeans from a thrift store, it doesn't matter. Everyone deserves respect. What happened here today is the complete opposite of everything we stand for. He pointed at Patricia. You're fired. You have 30 minutes to collect your personal belongings and leave the premises. Security will escort you. Patricia's legs buckled. But I've worked here for 12 years. I have a mortgage. I have kids. You should have thought about that before you had my wife dragged across this floor like a criminal. You had 12 years to learn basic human decency. You failed. He moved to Jessica. Fired. You participated in the humiliation. You called her a scammer. You laughed. Please. Jessica was sobbing now. I'll do anything. I need this job. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. Frank and Tony next. You put your hands on a woman. You hurt her. You dragged her. Fired. Both of you. Frank tried to defend himself. We were just following orders. Following orders to be cruel. Following orders to assault someone. That's your defense. Adrian shook his head. Get out. Ben, the bellboy who had kicked my belongings. Fired. Sophia, who had filmed and laughed. Fired. All 6 of them stood there in shock. Some were crying. Patricia had actually dropped to her knees, begging, but Adrian was unmoved. Harper called security, different security guards, to escort them out. One by one they were walked through the same doors they had tried to force me through, the same exit they had mocked me toward. The lobby was silent except for Patricia's sobs echoing as she was led away. Adrian turned to the remaining staff. Let this be absolutely clear. This behavior will never be tolerated. Not here, not anywhere in our company. We will be implementing immediate changes, mandatory respect training for every single employee, mystery shopper programs, a complete review of our policies, and a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination of any kind. He looked at Harper. You're on probation. You hired these people. You trained them. This happened under your watch. You have 6 months to prove to me that this will never happen again. Understood? Harper nodded, looking 10 years older. Understood, sir. It won't. I promise you. Adrian took my hand and led me to the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw the faces of everyone in that lobby. Shame, shock, fear. Good. They should feel all of those things. Upstairs in the penthouse suite, Adrian held me while I cried, really cried. All the fear and humiliation and pain came pouring out. He didn't say anything. He just held me, stroked my hair, let me feel everything I needed to feel. When I finally calmed down, he pulled back and looked at me seriously. Do you want to change how you dress? I'll understand if you do. For safety. No. I cut him off. No, Adrian. I won't change who I am because some people can't see past appearances. What happened today was a test. They failed. But I won't fail by becoming someone I'm not. He smiled, that same smile that made me fall in love with him in that diner 4 years ago. That's my girl. Within hours those guest videos went viral. 50 million views by the next morning. The hashtag Justice for Camila was trending worldwide. The story was everywhere, news outlets, social media, talk shows. People were discussing classism, the treatment of service workers, the importance of dignity, how we judge people based on appearance. I used that moment to launch something I'd been thinking about for a while, a foundation called Dignity for All. It provides free training for hospitality workers on treating every guest with respect. It offers scholarships for people from low-income backgrounds who want to work in the industry. It partners with hotels worldwide to implement better policies and practices. Patricia, Jessica, and the others, their cruelty was permanently on the internet. When potential employers Googled their names, this story came up first. I didn't feel good about that, but I didn't feel bad either. Actions have consequences. 3 months later I went back to the Grand Meridian. The entire staff had been retrained. New employees had been hired with our values-first approach. When I walked in wearing the same jeans and cardigan, the new receptionist smiled warmly. "Good afternoon. Welcome to the Grand Meridian. How can I help you today?" No judgment, no once-over, just kindness. "I have a reservation," I said. "Camila Rodriguez." "Perfect. Let me get you checked in right away, Mrs. Rodriguez. And may I say, it's an honor to meet you. Your foundation's training program changed my life." That moment right there made everything worth it. So here's what I learned from all of this. You never know who you're talking to. That person in worn-out jeans might own the building. That tired-looking woman might be someone's wife, mother, daughter. But here's the more important lesson. It shouldn't matter. Treat people with kindness and respect because they're human. That's it. That's the only reason you should ever need. Remember, kindness costs nothing, but it's worth everything.